Cool.
All right, go ahead.
Hey everyone, this is Jamie Sabat, and this is Your Superior Self.
Jamie, thank you for taking the time to come on the show. I cannot wait to talk to you. How are you doing?
I'm doing so well. How are you?
Doing well, doing well. So what do you got going on? Give everyone a little bit of background because I know you have you're pretty busy. You're right down the street from me. What do you got going on?
So, at the moment, I'm working on some exciting things, mostly in the world of manifestation. So, I do one on one coaching. I also have a women's group because, as you know, it's an interesting time for women right now. And women are starting to really come together and really starting to support each other. And so, I've also seen a lot of men's groups out there too that are like just coming together and supporting each other on the trials and tribulations and all the things that are happening right now during this time. But the thing that I'm the most excited about is my course.
Mm.
I actually used to work in fashion and worked in trend forecasting. So I'm definitely a cool hunter and a forecaster. And I started to notice an uptick in courses during COVID. Obviously, when people are quarantined, staying at home, people are taking classes online. So I actually created a manifestation course. So you can do this course at your own pace and learn about the laws of attraction and how it works, learn about your mindset and your subconscious mind, and then start manifesting some goodies into your life.
Love all of that. How did you get into that? Manifestation.
Magically, it actually came to me through manifestation. A lot shifted in my life last year. So in 2020, moved from one place to another. I was living in a home in Petworth, and now I'm living down at the wharf, as we talked about before. And things started coming to me. I'm not going to lie, I've definitely done my research on what the tools are and on mindset and tools like hypnosis and NLP, and how when you change your mindset and you change your subconscious mind, then things start flowing into your life. So as things started manifesting to me, clients just started to come to me naturally. They're like, whatever you're doing, I want to do that too. Show me your method, show me your process, like tell me what it's like. So I just naturally, lucky enough, knock on wood, created this business and became a female entrepreneur.
Hmm. I love that. Can you all right, so change your mindset, right? Like I 100% believe we are creators of our own reality. I think we can manipulate it to what we want. We just have to be conscious of that and find out how to do that, right? Like, so what you're talking about with the subconscious mind. It's very hard because of the conscious, like prefrontal cortex world that we live in every day. Um, tells us that it's in charge, that we think we're in charge, but it's actually the subconscious, like back background programs that are really kind of running the show a little bit. Um,
Mhm.
and the way I explain it is like when you drive your car and you're listening to something and you totally forget where you're going, or not where you're going, but you totally forget how you got there, right? That's the subconscious mind basically driving the car. Um, how do you access that though? Like, how do you, without giving away the store,
Right.
how do you access the subconscious?
Yes. Well, this is actually my favorite question because when you talk about manifestation, when you talk about things that are energy or ethereal, people are like, oh my God, you're woo woo and I don't understand it. So I like to science it. That's what I call it. And basically, how it works is we're all vibrating at a certain frequency, right? So when you're awake, when you're alive, which we both are right now, you're vibrating at a certain frequency. You could be vibrating in anger and stress and hate, or you could be vibrating in love and joy and abundance. And the law of attraction says that which is like unto itself, it is drawn. It's just science like gravity. So if you're vibrating here, you're going to attract that. But if you're vibrating here, you're going to attract this. I mean, the CIA even knows about manifestation and talks about it. And everything that manifests into our world is because of our subconscious mind. So from the age of 0 to 7, we're sponges and we're picking up on everything in our environment, everything our parents said. So if your parents are like, money is the root of all evil, or someone drives past in a Mercedes and they're like, oh, that guy, you're picking up on that when you're a child. So everything that we learn from our parents, from our caretakers, from our teachers, from our environment, from the media, is what's creating our personality or our lens that we look through the world. And if we believe that wealthy people are mean, then we're looking at the world that way. So we're going to manifest more of that. So what we do in order to manifest or get the things that we want in our life is we change our subconscious mind. And we can do that through time techniques, like traveling back in time, back into your childhood and changing the story, or hypnosis. I have just wonderful tools that help shift people's reality into the reality that they want.
So hypnosis, did you get certified in that?
Yes, I
Really?
did.
Where at? Where'd you go?
Oh my goodness. I did this wonderful program. It's called the Yes Supply. And the woman who started it, her name is Reese Evans, and she's an African American woman. Well, she's Canadian, so she's African Canadian. I don't know. Anyway, she's an African American woman. She's in Canada. And she learned about NLP and EFT and all of these techniques and started a school, which is actually board certified. And so the group that I was in was actually 30 different women doing this course. And the information was so impactful that there was a woman on the course from Australia.
Hmm.
She was getting on at midnight and staying up till 9 a.m. to do the course. France, Italy, London, like Eastern Standard Time, all the way through to LA. So I got certified because I want to be a master. If I say I'm going to hypnosis and change your mind, like that's a big deal. We have to really know what we're doing when we're working with the subconscious.
So interesting. How long was that program?
It was a 6-day intensive program. So it was super crazy. It was right when the Capitol incident happened.
Really?
Yeah, it was. So I was doing it at the beginning of this year. My parents were over watching my kids so I could do this 6-day intensive course, which I was like eating for 5 minutes, never took a pee break, never went outside, like doing it all, which was awesome. But my group took 15 minutes out of the course to do a meditation for the lives that were lost and for the energy shift of the planet. And it was a powerful time. So it was 6 days. Just to answer your question, it was a 6-day intensive, but getting a lot out of the energy and the vibration from the other members of the group.
Hmm. And so I'm asking because I'm fascinated with hypnosis and accessing that subconscious. So like the conscious, subconscious, super conscious, like speaking to that,
Mm-hmm.
um, is fascinating. What about past life regressions? Do you think you can do that too?
Oh, you can absolutely do that. So one of the things that I work on in time travel, time techniques,
I love
is
how you say time travel. I love that.
right. I love it. You can
And you're
also
like, oh, time techniques. No, not time travel.
time travel, just like Back to the Future. You can also go into your future and implant goals. So if you want to make a certain amount of money or if you want to achieve something, I can do that for you as well, where we can implant something into your future. But going back in time is really shifts because you can go into a moment the first time you experienced anger. And
Hmm.
let me tell you, if you have road rage, this will really change things for you. But that could be in the age of 0 to 7 for you. That could be in a past life, or it could be generational. So when you're doing this type of work, it's really deep. I mean, you have to drink a lot of water, you have to journal, you have to like give yourself time to like implement it into your life. But we can go as far back as to past lives or even generational, which, as we know, generational curses, they can creep up on us, but it can change your life.
Yeah. Have you done that? So like so you got certified beginning of the year. So how many sessions have you done so far with hypnosis?
Well, so that's when I got certified, but I was doing a little bit of work, prior to that.
Mhm.
And it's the type of thing that I'm not going to do anything to you that I wouldn't do to myself, right?
Sure.
So me being a coach and guiding my clients and guiding my groups, I'm doing this work on myself constantly. So I'm constantly practicing time techniques and going back and releasing unworthiness. Or if I've released anger, I'm going to release sadness. So I'm constantly doing this work on myself. And I have a coach. If I'm saying that you need a coach and that everyone needs a coach, I have a coach too. My coach is in New York. So it's always, the universe is evolving. So we always have to evolve ourselves, right?
Sure. Um, so how do you do it on yourself? Do you do it on yourself? Can you self hypnotize? I guess that's how you say it. Do you when you say you do the time travel, experiencing that? Like, how do you do that?
Yeah, so you can hypnotize yourself, and it's hypnotizing is a deep relaxation. So it's all about being suggestible. And if you are able to take suggestions and implant it, it's like basically taking your affirmations and putting it on steroids. So if you want to tell yourself, I'm beautiful, I'm successful, I'm a multimillionaire. You can do that all day long looking in the mirror, but if you're in a suggestible state, it's actually going to go into your subconscious. So, one of the things that I do is I record. So, I'll record myself with the things that I want to implant and program into my mind, and then I play them back either first thing in the morning or last thing in the evening when your brain is in theta brainwave state. So this is when you're in the most relaxed, suggestible. I'm sure if you're like sitting on in front of your TV watching Netflix, that's a state of trance too. Or when you're scrolling through Instagram, that's a state of trance too. So it's just deciding and being conscious of what you want to implant into your mind. Do you want to implant other people's dreams or your own dreams?
Mm. Yeah, no, I think I've read a lot about being able to like wake up in the middle of the night, like try to like 6 hours of sleep, wake up, and then sit there for like I don't know, 5 to a half hour, and try to not try to, but envision yourself doing what it is. Like I was talking to a friend of mine who does this type of work, and he's like, if you want to see I don't know, for example, the podcast, if you want to see it get bigger and bigger, just kind of envision yourself like, um, instead of using the affirmations, envision it, like take the logo and expand it, make it bigger, like right before, like in the middle of the night. So that way you're hitting that subconscious. And then the subconscious works with that and allows it to attract the things necessary for that to happen. Does that make sense? I don't know.
Yes, it totally makes sense. And that's a very good friend that you have. The thing is, that's the trick is that your mind, your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between real and not real. So visualization is one of the most powerful things that you can do. So that's why the time techniques is so cool. You can go back in time and visualize the incident when you felt angry, and you can change the story and
Mhm.
remove it and make it what you want. You can go into the future and implant the podcast being the exact number that you want it to be and visualize that. And your brain doesn't know the difference between real and not. So it's super powerful. It's literally just being conscious enough to say, I'm going to empower myself. I'm going to create the life that I want and taking the time to do it.
Mm. Yeah, no, I love that because we're so much more powerful than what we think we are. Who's inspired you the most as far as somebody out there, an influencer, maybe not even an influencer, author, who's inspired you?
Yeah, it's funny when you're doing this type of work, it's a constant, like I'm on Audible, I'm on podcasts, like all, like it's just, I have the earbuds in and I'm just like doing the dishes and constantly listening to stuff. So it's hard to pick just one, but definitely influenced by Abraham Hicks, who
Hmm.
is a huge manifestation. She's not an influencer, guide, spirit guide. And I was very lucky. I was actually going from New York to Washington, D.C. on a work trip. And she happened to be in Philadelphia at that time. And I just decided to stop in between on the train. And I was able to see Esther in November of 2019, like before COVID, everything hit, and was able and change. life-changing for me.
Did you get to ask a question?
You know what? I did not get to ask a question, but the person sitting next to me was called up and she actually had the exact same question. And
Really?
then the person sitting next to me had the same tattoo as me. Like, it was a wild experience. You cannot make this. Can we curse on here?
Yeah, go
You can't make this shit up. Like, it
ahead.
was like wild. So after that, for me, that was like when I started to believe. That was when I started to do more research and understand. So definitely Esther Hicks. And one of my favorite authors is Napoleon Hill. I'm sure many people have said Think and Grow Rich, but to me, Outwitting the Devil is by far the supreme writing that Napoleon Hill did. Have you read that?
I have not read a lot of Napoleon Hill. I have read a lot of Joe Dispenza. I don't know if you read him. He's
Oh, I love him.
I'm working so hard right now, tirelessly working towards him coming on the show. But
Great.
same type of concept, the science behind it, the energy, right? Like we're not, and Bruce Lipton too. I don't know if you read him about the idea of the conscious, like the epigenetics. The whole idea of the smallest part of our cells, which is the cell. The smallest part of that is an atom. And if you reduce the atom even more, it's energy. What is it? What is surrounding us? Nothing but energy. Even the space in between um, particles, right? There's information there. It's energy, and it all attracts to each other, like and like, negative and negative. So it makes sense to me, all of it, right? Like I don't know about you, but like science and um, this type of mindset has really changed the way that I view my life and how I create it. Like I can create it for myself.
Powerful. Well, I started my journey in wellness. Actually, I'm a Reiki master. So when you start talking about energy, that is like my jam right there, where everything is energy and it's all around us, and it's simply channeling it, like using your palm, your lao gong, you're channeling it to where you want it to be and creating it into what you want it to look like. That's the beauty of life, is that we're creators. We came here to create the life that we want. So when you start seeing that, and you can really see things as like the table not being the table, or more importantly, getting out of our ego, which just is us saying that we're separate from each other, and getting into our heart chakra, which is us, that we're all one and that we're all connected. It's like, that's so much more fun and so much more powerful than being separated, right?
Sure. No, absolutely. The ego, you're right. The ego says we're separate. You and I are different. You and I are totally different. In reality, it's if you break it down to the most basic, we are connected. Simple as that. And physics, quantum mechanics can prove that. But people don't, the paradigm has to shift at some point. Like our old materialistic mindset and our causal and effect type of science, it needs to change. Like there's so much evidence, so much research, so many different academic journals out there that support this data. That, I mean, even if you look at like non-local duality, right? Like, I mean, I'm not gonna get too much into it, but
Why? I love it.
I mean, space, like two particles that are connected, that are entangled, react the same way. From You can be anywhere in the world, and they don't have to be in the same room. Like they can be anywhere, non-local, and they're reacting in the same. Like it's just crazy, right? So how do you explain, like, if you and I are entangled in this quantum world, then we are automatically connected. And I don't know. I just love everything about this.
No,
Reiki master, right? Like you said
yeah.
that. Um, how do you get to be one?
Ooh, well, you have to go through this major initiation. No, just kidding. There
You have to
is,
sacrifice a goat.
yes, you have to sacrifice a goat. No, it's interesting. I mean, it's a calling, right? I mean, I was using essential oils at this yoga studio right here on 14th Street in Washington, D.C. And every week, the same person kept coming over to me. Well, she was a message from the universe, like, Jamie, follow the energy, follow the Reiki. And I did my level 1. And after I did my level 1, things just started shifting for me. I was like, this is the jam. This is where I want to be. This is like super fun. And then I just continued with level 2, level 3, and mastership, which is working with your mentors to train others and to teach others. So it's, it's something that can be easily managed if you want to take the time and learn about it, and something really important for me, right?
Mm. Well, how'd you get started down this road? Like, I feel like, I don't know how old you are. You look pretty young. Um, it
Thanks.
took a long time for me to get, I'm 38, or I'll be 38 in May. Not quite there yet. Um, but it took me a while. I mean, even like consciousness meditation, I didn't really get into. It wasn't my jam until I was like 35. Like, were you aware to this type of, like, I don't know, belief system back in the day?
Well, it's so funny. It's, how you get, like, you look back and you're like, oh, that was like a message from the universe. Like, the universe is giving us messages all the time and breadcrumbs. It's whether you're in the right vibration or the right state of mind to listen, right? So I was always interested in Eastern philosophy, like, I started doing yoga when I was like 10 years old,
Mm.
and like eating sushi before it was a thing. And I'm actually Buddhist. So like, the movie The Matrix is, like, for me, like, the most amazing thing, because it's based on Buddhist philosophy put into a movie.
Is it really? I didn't know that. I mean,
Oh, you didn't know that?
no, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. So I practice a Japanese type of Buddhism where we chant Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. And the scroll that I received that came from Japan are the green lines in the Matrix.
Hmm.
And the two guys that wrote it, it's all based on Buddhist philosophy. So now you have to go back
I
and
have to go
watch it.
back and watch it now.
Yeah, and look at it with
Jeez.
a Buddhist eye, but it's all like clues, like when Neo's in corporate America and he hates his job and he's falling asleep at his desk, and he gets a message from the universe, follow the white rabbit. And then he sees the girl with the tattoo, he goes to the nightclub and he meets Trinity. That is, like, the Matrix is the best, because that is what life is about. The universe is saying, follow the girl to the nightclub, go get coffee at this Starbucks. You might meet the person of your dreams or the next business opportunity or whatever it might be. That's the beauty of life, is that we're getting the downloads and the clues all the time.
Mm.
Like, super fun.
Where do you want to go? Like, what's your mission? Like, do you think is it just about, like, I don't know where you're at in your life. So it's like, what do you want? Like, do you want to build this coaching wellness coach thing into something huge? Do you want more of a spiritual path? Like, what is it? What is it that Jamie wants?
Yeah, well, Jamie wants, first of all, I think 2020 was a reckoning for us all, where I'm an energy worker, so I can feel the energy on the planet. It's literally like people are just getting woke left and right. And I'm there to take your hand and to guide you into the next level. So my course, I put that together because I want to help hundreds of thousands of millions of people to free themselves. I want to be like Morpheus from the Matrix. I want to say, you don't have to live this life that's making you unhappy and that you're complaining about every day with your coworkers that you hate. You can live the life of your dreams. Let me show you how. This is how to do it. And I would have wanted someone like me when I was working in corporate America. I mean, I worked in fashion, it was really fun, so I have nothing to complain about. But as you know, being an entrepreneur, you have ultimate autonomy and ultimate freedom and the possibility of ultimate wealth, which money is energy. So why not give everyone the opportunity to create that wealth and to create that freedom with themselves? And it's just about learning a process. Many people are looking, they're searching the matrix, they're looking in the matrix for the codes and the symbols. They can't find it. Let me
Why?
be the
Why
one to
is it
show you.
though? Why can't they find it?
You know, It's interesting. Some people are clouded by their subconscious mind. And you talked a little bit about the brain, but in the front of the brain is the reticular activating system. So, how does that work? You see, you buy a red car, everywhere you go, there's red cars. That's your reticular activating system. If you think you're broke and unworthy, everywhere you look, that's what you see.
Hmm.
So, because of our brain and the way that it works and the way that it functions, and because of the reticular activating system, we're going to get more of and see more of what is in our current state of life, unless you decide to change it, unless you have the tools to change it, unless you know how to change it.
I love that. I love that a lot. Because I do. Like I'll see Teslas. I'm a big fan of Elon Musk. Not because of his lifestyle, but his mission, right? Like what he's done,
Right.
what he stands for. As an entrepreneur, as a dreamer, as a creative. You know, doing it differently than what history has been. What history has done. And going like taking his dream of going to Mars and like just going after it, right? Like I love that.
Me
And
too.
I've always wanted a Tesla. I think they're great. I think the message behind it, not because it's a Tesla, but because the message behind that. And like you go and research a Tesla, and next thing you know, you'll see one. Next thing and it like follows you all. You're absolutely right. Like you always see something. Like it's so weird how that works. Like
It's your brain. That's the funny thing, that it's your brain doing it. So if you don't know that, then you just think that you're seeing the same thing over and over again. And if your state of mind is negative, you don't know that that's your brain doing that to you. So I love that you brought up Elon Musk, because I think that he is a part of this society too. I don't know if you've heard about Bitcoin
mhm.
and how he invested, I think it was like on February 8th, like $1.4 billion into Bitcoin, and then it like shot up.
Yep.
Crazy. But a lot of people that are interested in these cryptocurrencies are interested in a new world as well. Society 2.0, ridding yourself of the matrix, Elon Musk with going to Mars, and all of these sorts of things. So it's like, if you're on board with that, then you're just seeing more of that, and you're understanding more of how it works,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I want to understand like more so about like what you're into, right? So like the past life regressions. I'm into that. Like I love everything about that. Have you ever taken not a patient, a client and gone too far? Like you start going in that time I guess I don't know what you want to call it, time
Time.
hop or whatever.
Yeah.
Have you gone like too far into the next life or a past life?
Well, I've had clients that have had, gone into the past life, and that have seen things. There's an interesting time right now, because there's a shift with women, obviously, with Kamala Harris being the first minority woman as the vice president, where a lot of women have, it's something called a witch wound. I don't
Hmm.
know if you've heard
I
that.
never heard of that. No.
Oh, it's really interesting. Basically, being a healer, being a witch, as you would per se, or someone that does healings on people, they might have been ostracized, hurt, killed, murdered, burned at the stake for those types of activities that they would be doing. So if you have something like that from your past life, then of course in your present life, you would be afraid of helping people. You'd be afraid of healing people. You would be afraid of maybe even helping or healing yourself. So I've definitely have had clients that have had this experience. But when you say gone too far, I don't know what that is. More, it's their choice. When you're hypnotized, you're fully it's not like you're on stage like you've seen on these movies or shows where people are like quacking like chickens or things like that. You're fully conscious of what it is that you're doing. So I've had clients become really emotional, but mostly joyful of the release.
Mm.
mostly happy that they've discovered what has been plaguing them for many lifetimes, or what's plaguing them in their life right now. And they're like, damn, I finally figured this out.
Well, so you've experienced past life regression. What were you in the past?
Oh my goodness. Well, it's funny. I always had this thing with my neck. Like I was afraid of swallowing pills. And like, if anyone get too close to my neck, like I would like, it would be like too ticklish for me. Well, in one of my past life regressions, I was like a samurai and someone slit my throat.
Mm. Did you see that? Did you see it when you were in, like, when you were?
Oh, I totally saw it to the full on last moment of my breath, which was not fun, obviously.
Mm.
I can't believe I'm telling you all this. But anyway, so it was like to my last breath. And then seeing that made me understand why I had all of these things about my throat. And then as soon as I was able to release that, I started doing public speaking. So do you see how the correlation between ancestral or past life or anything like that could be plaguing someone in their present current life? It's like now I can speak.
Or were you like like nervous, stage fright before that?
Oh my goodness. Before that, I was a writer. Before that, I was only writing and doing and I wouldn't speak in front of large groups of people. Now I can speak in front of 500 people, 1,000 people. But I did that past life regression, and I knew there was something about my throat because I'd be weird if someone would come near. But then I finally released it.
Mm.
Like, how
That's interesting.
empowering is that?
That is empowering. Samurai warrior. That's pretty intense too. I haven't had a past life regression per se. Like I haven't been hypnotized or taken back personally. I've had conversations with um, channels, like someone like
Okay.
Abraham, and I've
Mm-hmm.
had conversations with people that can access the Akashic records,
Mm-hmm.
and they've told me that I have had a past life before of a Greek soldier, and I was killed because I wasn't following orders to a T. Like I would let people live that they wanted me to kill, and I didn't allow that. So I let them go, and then I got caught, and then they executed me. And then I'm trying to think of the other one. And then most recently, there's a Nordic tradition or Nordic culture that I was a part of that I didn't get the details to, but I very much want to be uh, a part of a past life regression because I feel like you can, like you talk about certain times a day, right? Like in the morning or at night, and you're in these suggestible states.
Mm-hmm.
I want to experience, like I felt like I experienced, I remember I had this one vision, right? Like so, and I don't know, I feel like it is a past life regression. I don't know. It felt like a dream or kind of like imagining, but it was one of those instances where I woke up in the middle of the night and I just laid there and I couldn't get back to sleep. And then I just had this, I closed my eyes and just laid there. And then I had this vision of me being, on a horse riding into a kingdom and being, just going up to this guy or this boy and, getting off my horse and giving him the horse and, um, asking him, where's the king or who's in charge? And he looked at me like with this face and he's like, you are like, you're the king. I was like, what? And then I woke up and I was like, oh crap. Like didn't get to see or experience the environment, didn't get to see any of the good stuff of being in charge back then.
Right.
But I think that work is so important. Like what you're talking about, like Carol Bowman, she is big in like research with children and past lives.
Mm-hmm.
Like what you're talking about, I think it was like, I don't know, my daughter, she's my third daughter is 2. I'm gonna really pay attention this time. Like when she starts creeping up to age 4 to 7 and
Yeah.
just seeing if she like drops any hints of past life
Yeah.
experiences. Because she was talking about her son, who was a soldier in the Civil War and he had like eczema on his wrist.
Mm.
and that's where he got shot or something like that, and he had to go to a field hospital and during the Civil War, and he was an African American soldier, and he like every time he was around, like he had a phobia, or when he was a boy, he didn't like loud noises, he didn't like loud bangs, and like he got really terrified of that, and they couldn't ever understand what was going on. Loud sounds would set him off, and they did a past life regression on him, and that's when they found out his life. And he would draw like a picture of the battlefield, and he drew, and this is not even in when I say past life regression, they didn't hypnotize him, he just started talking about it. So
Mm-hmm.
like he's like, I think he was probably like 4 or 5, and he was, drawing this stuff out and being very clear with what the guy's past life was. Like he had a wife and family. He drew a map. I mean, it talked about he um, was an operator of a cannon that was tied behind a horse, and it was just insane. Like, so
Mm-hmm.
I'm really going to pay attention to my kid when she gets to the age of where
Yeah.
she can like clearly tell stories, because there's so much data. There's so many like research papers on child, I guess child past lives. Like, I don't know
Mm-hmm.
if you
Well,
read Carol Bowman.
when they're so young like that, they're the closest that they are to birth and death, which is why it's so important, like the parenting and like what
Mhm.
you're teaching your children and how you like what information you're pouring into them, because they're at that they're like angels
Yeah,
at that point. So paying attention
until they
is
hit like 10, and then they're not anymore. They're not angels anymore.
right.
How many kids do you have?
I have two. So I
Two
have a
kids.
6-year-old James and a 3-year-old Mila.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, they're
Um,
cute. But I
that
wanted to tell you, I don't know if you know this or not, about the Dalai Lama. Okay, people are like, the Dalai Lama, he's so cool. But do you know why the Dalai Lama is so cool? The Dalai Lama is so cool because he's reincarnated. He's reincarnated in so many lives and can remember all the past lives.
hmm.
Like, so he moves from life to life to life to life, knowing exactly what his mission is and knowing who he is when he's born into this life. And the other, they're not just the Dalai Lama, but the other rishis that are in Nepal can do this too. So if you, I would love to work with you, but it's like, if you want to know more about it, Yoga Nidra. Have you heard of Yoga Nidra? So Yoga Nidra, it's not like yoga where you're doing like warrior 2, warrior 1 or whatever. It's a meditative practice where, and this is what the Dalai Lama does, and it's very, big in India and Nepal or whatever. It's a subconscious mind technique, and this is the practice that they have so that they can reincarnate into their next life knowing who they were in their past life. Like, what? Like, sign me up for that immediately.
Have you tried it? Like, I mean, have you researched it? I mean,
Yeah, I have. I actually did Yoga Nitra the whole time I was pregnant with my son, which is so funny because when he was born, people were like, oh my God, he's like a baby Buddha. Like, he was so calm. And they were like, Jamie, all that weird people, that weird stuff that you're doing. But I did, because it's so relaxing. You're in a state in between sleep and awake. So it's kind of like a hypnotic state. And then your instructor is like giving you suggestions and hypnotic languages. But my instructor in New York, he was trained in Nepal.
hmm.
So if you know, I'm happy to share with you any information on Yoga Nidra, but that is why the Dalai Lama is so cool, because he's reincarnating into life after life, knowing who he is. That's
So
why he's
can you do that yoga? I mean, that is, first off, let me just say that is amazing. And
amazing.
I don't know, like definitely people on the East, they have so many different powers. It's insane.
Right?
That
Let's
we have,
go there. Exactly.
um, seriously. I mean, they have so many different powers. Have you been over there? Have you taken a trip over there to the
So
East?
first of all, I'm dying to go to Nepal, but I've been to Bali.
Mhm.
My best friend who lives in LA, she happens to be half Indonesian, half American. So I'm very lucky. Like, I've been to Indonesia quite a few times, and I've been to India, which was lovely. But I mean, I'm a citizen of the world. I need to like go everywhere. Like, I worked in fashion. Like, I haven't been to Tokyo. I need to get some
Yeah,
jeans.
what's up with that?
I
Like,
know,
you gotta
what's up
go.
with that? I need to be in Hong Kong. So my plan for 2020 was to really get out there, but that was impeded a little bit. But I have traveled a bit and would love to travel more. And like, I would love to go to Nepal and like get on that Yoga Nidra stuff.
Yeah. Oh my God. Can you imagine going there and like learning from the source?
The
Like the
source.
source of how to perform these acts and how to get into these states.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
living a life of peace. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what it's all about, right? It's like, yeah, I'd like a white Range Rover, and we want like this and that and all of those in Gucci. Everyone wants Gucci. But at the end of the day, what do we really want? We want peace.
Hmm.
We don't want to stress about where the money is coming from. We don't want to stress about what's happening to our kids or what's happening in the world. So it seems like they have figured it out there doing that meditation.
Well, yeah. When you talk about that, right? We don't. So like Ram Dass, right? Like he talks a lot about taking the curriculum in life, right? Like not escapism, like trying to leave here, and try to get out of here by meditation all the time and getting out and not experiencing life, but being here, being present, being in the moment and experiencing like things like this, like you and I having a conversation, whatever it is, and allowing yourself to be in it 100% and feel the body and know that you're not it. Try to be the witness. Try to be the guys. If you're feeling depressed, I feel depressed sometimes, and I struggle with depression and anxiety. Like, but knowing that the body is full of reactions, chemical reactions that are expressed in your body, and that's why you feel certain things. Um, but just observe it as that. Just say, all right, I feel like crap, I feel like shit. Just like mentally can't get out of this. I feel sticky. I just feel grimy. But just notice it from, just sit with it. They
I
say
totally
they
agree.
say they say have tea with it, right? Like just sit there with it and eventually it goes away.
Yeah, and actually pushing it down and oppressing it is not helping you feel less depressed. It's actually making it, it's your focus on it's perpetuating and it's expanding. Feeling the feelings and having them pass through is actually how to evolve and how to grow and how to like up level. And I feel men, women, but especially men that feel like they can cry or share their emotion or it's like good for you because you're only going to grow and expand in life. But like taking the moment to recognize where you are so that you know where you're going. You're going to put something into the GPS. Oh, I want to go there. Well, where are you now?
Yeah. I try to have some cry sessions. I'm not gonna lie. I try to do that because you hold it in and it builds over, however old you are. I'm 38, so it's like, if you try to hold everything in, which we've been programmed to do as men, as males, alpha males, that we have this idea that we have to be, then this energy builds up in you. Your heart it's hardened. You're not open to things. You're not connecting with other people. There's a barrier. And some men, I was at first. It's like if I open the gates, I don't know if I'm gonna stop. Like I don't know if I'm going. These tears are gonna keep flowing. I don't know.
And you don't know if it's you or your past life or what.
Yeah, you don't know what's gonna come out of those gates, and that. But that's you got to heal. I mean, you got to do that. You got to do that. It just feels so good. I'm telling you, man. I might sound manly, I might sound alpha, but it's okay to have a cry session every now and then. Get that out, feel it. Just feel it because that's a part of that's the art, the beauty of being a human. That's why we keep coming back is for this experience. And don't shy away from that. Don't allow yourself to shut yourself out from the world. I don't know if that makes sense.
Well, and also you talked about this earlier, the law of polarity. In the moment when we're feeling sad, there's also joy.
Mm.
So to push it down, you're taking yourself away from the joy at the exact same moment. So like feeling that is really what makes a difference. And from studying Joe Dispenza, who's a doctor and like healed himself through his mind when he was like, couldn't walk. It's like there's so much science behind all of this stuff. And I mean, I feel like that helps me and it really helps my clients as well. Like when I explain to them the science, they kind of get it more like a
Mm.
tier. I don't know if you've ever done ayahuasca or combo or
Not
bufo or
yet.
anything like that,
Not yet.
but
Have
it
you?
is, I haven't yet. But I do have a friend who is a high priestess and is very well connected with the shamans that come from LA. So if you want to know about that, I'll tell you more about that later. But it's a purge.
Mm.
crying is a purge. So it's a good thing. It's getting it out.
How do you know I was gonna say next? You just got me at that, right? Like I'm thinking I have this. You're right, like a purge, right? Like you take ayahuasca. I've heard stories. I've talked to Aubrey Marcus. He talked about his stuff with me. And I talked to some shamans. You take it, and then you take it in. It's a ceremony. It's accepting this as a gift. It's purifying your body, and then you start throwing up, and you start having these convulsions, and your body starts pushing this stuff out, and that's when you have the experience. That's basically how I understand it. But then, like even like LSD, like even like MDMA, like all these different things that we have that we just never used before, right? Like we're all starting to realize the positives about how they unlock. They're like these chemical keys that unlock our brain to the higher universe, and then we can finally experience. It's just crazy how I've been reading. I can't even find the book. It's somewhere around here. Like this doctor who's been, I mean, he's had extensive experiences with LSD,
Mm,
and he's probably had over 70 sessions in his entire life. And he talks about how he would take breaks throughout his life because it would just, his life in that time didn't match up with the therapy that he needed, or he couldn't do it for whatever reasons. And each time it picked up right where I left off. Like if it
mm.
was like if you were taking it how do you say that?
Recreationally.
Yeah. If you're taking it for just for that, it's not the same. Like if you're sitting around with a bunch of your buddies and you're doing it, like you're missing out. But if you go in and you're doing it therapeutically, if you go lay down in, your office and put on some headsets like this and you have somebody there to ground you, you can experience so much more than what we can ever imagine.
Well,
Uh,
yeah, I mean, the thing that I've been reading about a lot, and I was actually in LA at this thing called Summit, and everyone was talking about
Summit. Why is that familiar?
Summit. You probably it's a leadership conference.
Mm.
Like Tracy Ellis Ross spoke, Saad Garuz spoke. All the food was vegan, and they basically take downtown LA and they build like a mini city. And you go from conference to conference, and there's outdoor spaces. And Salt and Pepper was spinning at the party, but everyone was talking about microdosing mushrooms, psilocybin,
Mhm.
and people in Silicon Valley that are like creating the apps that all of them that we're using are going on these guided shamanic journeys that what you're talking about, paying thousands of dollars for it, but sitting with the headphones, with the eye mask, but microdosing. And just like another thing that was really big there was like CBD, like using that for anxiety. And I feel like that's a part of this whole society 2.0 that I'm hearing so many people talking about is like microdosing mushrooms, Bitcoin and blockchain and
Yeah.
driving Teslas. And like, that's the future, it's like,
Well, or what, Uber Air too. Have you heard of that? So
no, I've heard of Fly Private. What's Uber Air?
Uber Air is going to be like this insane, like these helicopter looking things. It's going to be in like Austin, New York, LA, and it's going to take you from rooftop to rooftop, and it's going to be insane. Like, it's like your own little, not solar powered, battery powered helicopters that are going to just save so much time traveling inside the cities. It's going to be
Mm.
insane.
Ooh,
But that's like you said, society 2.0.
Society 2.0. I'm going. Are you going?
I'm taking, what is it? The red pill? Is that it?
Yeah.
Red pill, whatever it is that Neo took. I'm definitely getting on that bandwagon. Um,
I love it. It's like Richard Branson. I mean, he was before Elon Musk, and I love Richard Branson. I think he's a genius. I learned the other day the man has 300 companies.
does he?
So that's like mine. When you think about becoming an entrepreneur, you're like, oh, I'm going to start a business. I'm going to get my LLC. I'll open my bank account. This man has 300 businesses. And the reason why he can succeed is because he has faith and trust in other people.
Sure.
He's
Delegate.
He's hired the right people to delegate to. He has the right managers. They manage up to him. There's no way one human being can manage 300 companies. He has faith in people, which is why he's able to have 300 companies. I just think that's mind blowing.
I
I
think it's
love
just smart. Like hire better than you are, right? Like hire people that are more qualified than you and surround yourself with that and just say, all right, I got these, I got these systems set up this way. They report to me and, I'll run 300 companies and chill out on an island all day.
exactly.
Mm.
Well, it's also knowing the right type of people. Like I've done this recently. Have you done your human design?
No, no idea what that is.
Oh my goodness. So I'm an astrologer, so I read astrology and human design is based on it. It's a little bit like kind of like Myers-Briggs, a little personality, but it goes way deeper than that because it goes into your strategies. So it goes into like how you lead your life, the best way to lead your life. So there you'll hear terms like manifestors, generators,
Mhm.
projectors, reflectors. So projectors tend to be people that carry out tasks where manifestors create. So let's say you're going to start a business and let's say you're a manifestor or manifest generator. You want a projector that's going to do all the bookkeeping, all the billing, like all of that kind of stuff. So when you find the right people that have the right personality types and you pair them together, you have a perfect team. And so many businesses, they're just smashing people together. It's like, well, did you figure out who's better at doing what?
No,
No. So then if
no.
you haven't done that, then how are you supposed to be efficient? If you want to get your human design read, I'll send you to someone.
Yeah, definitely. This has been
Yeah.
awesome, Jamie. I'm glad we connected. What time is it? It's almost
I
an
know.
hour on this. Goodness. How can people connect with you? How can people find out more about you?
Mm. Well, you can find me on the gram.
On the
I am
gram.
Distill and Express. So I won't spell it, but Distill and Express on Instagram. And then also you can take my free masterclass, which I would love for you all to do. I'd love to be Morpheus and free your mind. And the masterclass is mastering your second act.com.
.com.
Yep.
Love it. Make sure you follow her. I just followed her on Instagram. She's crushing it.
Good. Yay. This
Jamie,
is so much fun.
thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you.
What do you want your legacy to be?
Legacy. I have to be super cheesy and say, I want to raise the vibration of the planet. And I want people to say, that lady helped me.
Mm, absolutely. Jamie, thank you so much. This has been phenomenal. This has been
So
energy raising for myself.
good. Let's connect afterwards. I'd love to chat with you.